Thank you, Norley, and warmest greetings to everyone who are joining us in this virtual presser, to all my co-workers at the DOST, the undersecretaries, assistant secretaries, the agency heads, the regional directors, and all our colleagues. Good morning to everyone. I think I will not really be giving more details than what was already presented, but I just would like to share with you my thoughts on this Big 21 in 2021. As you all know, the pandemic started last year, okay, the year 2020, and well, of course, earlier than that, but here we actually consider 2020 as the start of the pandemic here, and we wanted to give some news or good news to our fellow Filipinos, okay, even if we were in the midst of the pandemic. And the year 2020 was something looks like perfect figure, you know, when you talk of 2020, it's perfect vision. Anyway, the idea was to pick the 20 projects or programs that we have accomplished or we have launched in 2020, okay, that we think have high impact on us. And so we asked our agencies, our regional officers to suggest, okay, the big projects that they have, and we will choose the top 20 in terms of impact. And so we did that, and this year, 2021, we are still in pandemic mode or environment, and we continue with this so-called tradition of sharing information on our projects, and we call it Big 21 in 2021. And so after receiving the different suggestions from our agencies and our regional offices, we came up with the choice of the Big 21 from the point of view of our own management. And we categorize this into the following groupings. We have the launching or inauguration of new state-of-the-art facilities in the DOST system. We have the new R&D programs, new products that have been developed out of R&D, and the so-called needs research centers in our regions. Okay, so that is another group. We put together the initiatives that we had in COVID-19 and put that under one group again. Of course, it's not an exhaustive listing. We picked out, we chose the projects that we think have really contributed much impact. And of course, we have the productivity and empowerment achievers. These are the people, the enterprises whom we have helped, and which really showed, okay, a very good performance and shall we say very good implementation with good results, okay, out of the help that we extended to them. We also had a category on enhancing human resource development and human resource management, okay, and you will see this later. And lastly, we have the so-called governance milestones. So I will go through each of this category and enumerate the projects or the programs under each of them. All in all, 21. Okay, so we start with the new state-of-the-art facilities. Next slide, please. As you well know, well, we are running a science and technology enterprise. Okay, the DOST is a family of agencies, and it's really an S&T enterprise, and we can only contribute so much, okay, corresponding also to the inputs that we are getting. And we realized from the beginning of our term in 2016 that there are many new facilities that we need so that we can be able to carry out our mission better, and so that we can achieve the goal of inclusive development, sustainable development, and competitiveness. And here are there are 7 that we are featuring in the new state-of-the-art facilities that will really be of service to industry. And the first one is the Advanced Manufacturing Center, which we opened last July. It is expected to improve our country's manufacturing capabilities, including the micro, small, and medium enterprises to drive the growth of our economy. This is actually a twin facility. One is devoted to the additive manufacturing and modeling facility, and the other one is devoted to the development of advanced materials for additive manufacturing. The first one, the additive manufacturing facility, is located, of course, at the MIRDC, the Metals Industry Research and Development Center, while the Advanced Materials Development is with the Industrial Technology Development Institute. The second facility that we opened this year, and by the way, when we talk of the Big 21, most of them have already been opened and launched and started to be used or implemented earlier than today, okay? Meaning to say from the early part of January up to today. And the rest, okay, will still be inaugurated, launched, or completed in any of the months of September, October, November, or December 2021. But the condition is that they should be ready by the end of 2021. So we have the Advanced Mechatronics, Robotics, and Industrial Automation Laboratory, which we call AMERIAL. It is another new facility at the DOST Metals Industry Research and Development Center. And this is the facility which we hope can help our enterprises to move towards the so-called Industry 4.0. Okay, so this will be targeting our local manufacturing as they shift to more of automation and the so-called state-of-the-art technologies. The next one, the third one, would still be under the Metals Industry Research and Development Center, or MIRDC. You know, we have clamor from our clientele in the regions that we should have the kind of services MIRDC is offering in the regions. But we are constrained to do that. Of course, we were told by DBM we cannot just set up regional offices because these are really going to require a lot of resources to set up the regional offices for MIRDC. So the innovation that MIRDC thought was to install what we call metals and engineering innovation centers in the regions. And we have our state universities and colleges or universities in the regions as partners. So we started with the first group, regions Cordillera, Region 1, Region 2, Region 3, and Region 10 for the first 5 of these metals and engineering innovation centers. They can be used for research purposes, for training purposes, and of course to develop new products and prototypes and to help the metals and engineering sector in the regions to address their concerns. Okay, so these have been launched last month, and we hope that in 2022 onwards, we can still continue to set up more in the other regions, okay, with the target of having 1 metals and engineering innovation center per region, just like our food innovation centers, which can be found in every region of the country. Next item, still on the state-of-the-art facilities. This is a twin facility under the packaging technology division or packaging research division of our Industrial Technology Development Institute. And these 2 separate facilities, but we are launching them together under the facilities for packaging. And what do these facilities serve, or what do they do? Let me tackle first the Green Packaging Laboratory. Today, our people, our customers, our manufacturers are all concerned about packaging that will be functional, at the same time lower cost and environment friendly. And this is where the Green Packaging Laboratory will play its part. In the other case, the Simulation Packaging Testing Laboratory is a facility that we can use, okay, to simulate the, shall we say, the rugged path that the products go through in moving from the supply to the from the supplier to the consumer or the buyer. Okay, and here we know that packaging protects the product which is inside, and we have many kinds of products really that when subjected to stress during transit can deteriorate or can be destroyed. Okay, and so we need packaging to protect this, and we also have to make sure that the packaging we use will really withstand the stress that it will undergo in transporting them from source to the customer or user. Many of these are exported and therefore go through a chain of transport, shall we say, stages, okay, and they have to withstand all these, shall we say, difficulties faced along the way. So we have the Simulation Packaging Testing Laboratory and the Green Packaging Laboratory. The next facility, item 5, is again, it's something very unique, and I credit Region 3, DOST Region 3 for this. Some of you may be aware that in Bulacan, particularly in Giginto, Bulacan, this is the town where you exit when you exit in Tabang. Okay, and one can see upon exit, and when you are about to reach the MacArthur Highway, that there are hundreds of small enterprises engaged in the sale of plants, most of which are ornamental plants. And you know, there are many ornamental plants now that command very high prices. And the challenge there is how to propagate and propagate in bigger quantities more rapidly, because the conventional methods that they use, okay, allow them to produce only limited numbers within a certain period of time. Okay, and so it was thought of that tissue culture can be applied in the propagation of these ornamental plants. And between the discussions of our DOST Regional Director, Dr. Sikat in Region 3, and the Mayor of Giginto, Bulacan, Mayor Cruz, they agreed that they will collaborate in putting up an innovative tissue culture laboratory, which we call iLab, for ornamental plants. Giginto took care of the venue, of the place, the land and the building that they financed to be constructed, and it is DOST, okay, through Region 3, that will be taking care of the facilities needed in the tissue culture laboratory. It was also agreed that in terms of operation, there will be collaboration between the Bulacan State University, the DOST, Region 3, and with the support of the local government of Giginto, Bulacan. So this will help the growers there to quickly generate identical mature offspring of one plant with desirable traits, okay, and highly desirable features, especially for commercial large-scale production of these ornamental plants. Next slide, please. This will be launched in December. Now, meaning to say complete and operational already. The sixth one, comes from our Pag-asa, and this is really the 2021 shall we say, contribution to the Pag-asa modernization. And this actually includes the operation of the latest 3 Doppler radars and the opening of 4 flood forecasting, okay, and monitoring centers. Okay, so that plus the high frequency radars that will be used in the coastal area. Next slide, please. Now, in preparation for what we have been proposing, the Virology and Vaccine Institute of the Philippines, our DOST Industrial Technology Development Institute, considering that they are in the best position to start the projects under the said proposed Virology and Vaccine Institute of the Philippines, have installed within ITDI, the first biosafety level 2+ laboratory within the DOST system. And this will help, okay, or actually it is a needed facility in carrying out the initial projects that are that have been started, of course, with the grant of funds coming from DBM. Okay, this 2021, even if the Virology and Vaccine Institute has not yet been created by law, and the same is true for 2022, wherein DBM also included the allocation for R&D programs or projects under the Virology and Vaccine program. Next slide, please. Now we move on from the state-of-the-art facilities. These are the R&D programs, products, and niche research centers that are new, okay? And we think will create or has created impact, okay? Practically all of these are already done, and we are reporting them now. The next slide will show the first one, which is actually a new R&D program, which we call the Nutritional Genomics Program, implemented by our DOST Food and Nutrition Research Institute. It is expected to contribute to the growing knowledge and capability on nutritional genomics, leading to omics-based methods to predict disease susceptibility, early detection of nutritional deficiency and excess, and accurate identification of nutrition-related diseases and the impact of dietary signals in the genome. So this is something that will handle the differences among individuals in terms of nutritional, shall we say, requirements. 2 people may be of the same height, same weight, okay, same age, but because of the genetic factors, may be more susceptible to different kinds of diseases, and actually would require different nutritional inputs. Next slide, please. Item 9 is the Tuklas Lunas program. Of course, Tuklas Lunas program has been running for a number of years now, but for 2021, we are proud about the 23 standardized dosage formulations that has activity for hypertension, gout, inflammation, diabetes, that are available as supplements for technology adoption. So these are now announced to the public. We cannot do all the work at DOST in converting them from the active ingredients to the end product, which is the medicine, because the clinical trials will require a lot of expenses. But we are opening this to our pharmaceutical manufacturers, okay, through licensing agreements with DOST or with the university, which actually did the work, so that they can go ahead with clinical trials and come up with the necessary medicines derived from this biodiversity. Okay, so take note, we now have 28 partner institutions. Next slide, please. Now, this is something innovative, and this comes from our DOST card. They call it the Sari Buhay series. It is about an R&D program but this is more of information dissemination. It's a science and technology specialized documentary series or docu-series on television and online platforms that will serve as a communication tool to educate the citizenry on the importance of environmental protection and conservation. Okay, this visual presentation on TV takes us in a journey towards the country's rich biodiversity, providing an in-depth and wider perspective on the scientific and technological conservation and research efforts that are being done by our scientists and researchers. So these are presented in an educational and entertaining fashion, no? And edutainment, okay, as they call it. Okay, so let us take a look at the other slides that will give us a better idea of Sari Buhay. Next slide, please. Here we have the component on terrestrial biodiversity. And our research partner here, or the research implementer, is Cebu Technological University, okay, and Central Mindanao University, one in the Visayas and one in Mindanao. Actually, the program that they are running actually aims at a nationwide resource assessment of flora and fauna. Okay, and the title of their programs are shown here: Flora and Fauna Assessment using Permanent Biodiversity System in Cebu Island and key biodiversity areas and biodiversity in selected mountain ecosystems of Mindanao for the conservation and sustainable development of this biodiversity. And here you can see documented discoveries of new species of flora like orchids and native trees, and fauna like the Philippine pit viper, endemic and threatened bird species, snout beetle, pygmy grasshopper, and of course these are all okay announced and disseminated to the public. Okay, they are potential sources also of new products and can be used for future breeding activities. Next slide. The next slide, still on this Sari Buhay, covers marine biodiversity. Okay, and there are a number of implementing agencies, okay, universities actually from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. As you can see here, UP Diliman, Davao del Norte State College, Western Philippines University, De La Salle University, UP Los Baños, UP National Institute of Geological Sciences, UP Mindanao, UP Visayas, Samar State University, and the University of San Carlos. This actually consisted of 7 projects, okay? And the significant outputs include, among others, the science-based information generated from the documentation of deep water biodiversity in the Benham Bank Seamount that paved the way to the declaration of 50,000 hectare Benham Bank as a marine protected area and over 300,000 hectares as a special fisheries management area through proclamation number 489. Okay. Now let us move on to the next slide. This is still on the Sari Buhay program, where you have the documentation of the indigenous vegetables. Okay, this component is the documentation of indigenous vegetables in the Philippines that were surveyed and characterized and promoted. Okay, you know, easily there will be probably more than 600 vegetable species or varieties in the Philippines. But if you ask an ordinary Filipino how many vegetable names they know, maybe I myself can only name 15 vegetables. You know? But you see there are hundreds of them. Okay, and they are found in different places of the country. Indigenous plants that are usually grown by the natives of the place, not cultivated yet in backyard scale, and therefore are underutilized and overlooked despite being good sources of food, nutrients, and even income. So we would like to share this information to our fellow Filipinos. There are also livestock, particularly the native livestock that we are promoting. Okay, coming from the different provinces. Next slide, please. Now, item 11 here is the spectral acceleration maps of the Philippines, or the SAM-PH Atlas, which provides science-based probabilistic information for structural engineers and building designers, okay, as a basis in developing structural design for essential, critical, and high-risk structures that are designed to withstand intensity 8 earthquake or stronger. So this is really an atlas which tells you what are the risks, okay, in a particular area of the country, in a particular location, so that you can prepare, okay, the structural strength and integrity of the design to withstand, okay, seismic, high seismic vibrations. Next slide, please. Now we move to an item which actually consists of 10 centers. Okay, the NICER centers is one of the bigger components of our Science for Change program, which, by the way, we are hoping to be passed into law. And NICER refers to the niche research centers in the regions. Our aim, okay, is to have inclusivity or inclusiveness also in the area of SNT, or Science and Technology Research and Development. We have to build capability in the regions because they have unique problems that they face there that can be addressed for science and technology, and they have unique opportunities also. Well, later on, they can grow into national centers of excellence. Now, okay. Now here is the first of the 10, the Center for Advanced Batteries, led by the Technological Institute of the Philippines and the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Next slide is the Center for Environmental Technologies and Compliance, which is implemented, or this is under the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Manila, Adamson University, and UP Diliman. Next slide. The third NICER here is the Coastal Engineering Research Center, okay, which involves the Mariano Marcos State University, the Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, and the University of the Philippines. So you have one from Ilocos Norte, one from La Union, and of course from Quezon City. So the center will help build resilient communities by reducing agricultural and fishery losses due to disaster, okay, because of their location. When extreme events occur, okay, in the coastal areas. Next slide, okay, still on NICER, is the Smart Water Infrastructure and Management, or the SWIM R&D Center, implemented by Isabela State University, Cagayan State University, and Quirino State University. So DOST has been funding these R&D centers, well, at least for the initial years. And our goal really is to strengthen the capabilities in these universities in this area. So the center will enable an increase in water availability for domestic water supply, also the reduction in agricultural damages during drought and extreme rainfall, and of course improved water quality and sustainable utilization of groundwater resources. The next slide will deal with our, I think this is already the 5th item or 6th, the Center for Lake Sustainable Development. And this is implemented by the Laguna State Polytechnic University and the University of the Philippines, Diliman. This is intended to increase resilience and adaptation to climate change built among vulnerable lake communities in the Calabarzon areas. But later on, the knowledge can be applied in other parts of the country. Next slide, please. The next NICER is the Center for Sustainable Polymers, which is located at the Mindanao State University in Iligan Institute of Technology. Remember my mention of green materials. I think this one fits that description. The center will provide market-ready products that are not only cheaper, okay, but would serve as substitutes for the petroleum-based materials that are currently being used. Next slide, please. We have the next center, which is the Center for Vector Diseases of Public Health, and this is with the De La Salle University Laguna campus in collaboration or in partnership with the University of the Philippines, Diliman. So this is really dealing on insecticide resistance knowledge in the community, for example, addressing dengue, and of course, to reduce disease occurrence from mosquito-borne diseases. Next slide, please. I think there is a mistake there at the end of that description. It's not 16 billion, it's 16 million. Okay. Now we have the next NICER, which is the Integrated Protein Research and Development Center, which is a biotechnology facility for health at Ateneo de Manila University. And this will involve the local production of core proteins and vital equipment that will help in increasing the country's ability to address the emerging variants and pathogens, to catalyze the strategic growth of R&D-driven local biotechnology and biopharmaceutical industries. Next slide, please. This NICER is on biomaterials for diagnostics and therapeutics. And I'm very happy about this. This is being implemented by Angeles University, of course, in Region 3, wherein they have strengths in the medical and health sciences. And this R&D center that has been put up here will function as a training ground for biology, medical laboratory science, medicine, and health science, and also provide opportunities for student health innovators to explore and develop their potentials. And the R&D will contribute to the increase of capable medical laboratory scientists and, of course, products that they will produce. I guess, is there still on NICER? Next slide. This probably is the last, the Center for Neurorobotics Technology. And this is located at the Institute of Biomedical Engineering and Health Technologies of De La Salle University. Okay? It will provide neurorobotic solutions for a variety of health-related conditions by developing and innovating technologies, products, and services through collaboration and partnership that will bring neurorobotic R&D from the laboratory to the market. Next slide. We move on to the initiatives to address COVID-19. Next slide will show us item 13 in the Big 21, this project under the Philippine Council for Health Research and Development is entitled Clinical Characteristics and Transmission Patterns of COVID-19 Confirmed Cases and Their Contacts in the Philippines. This will be of big help to our Department of Health regarding guidelines for case isolation, contact tracing, and disease control and prevention by understanding the transmission patterns. Okay, next slide, please. Item 14. This is regarding the clinical trials of natural products against, as adjunctive therapy against COVID-19. This includes Lagundi, VCO, okay, and Tawa-Tawa, which has been used as a health supplement for dengue patients. Next slide, please. We are now in item, next slide. So this is on Tawa-Tawa and VCO. And next slide. We have reported on this quite comprehensively. Next slide, please. Okay. Another item in the COVID-19 initiatives is the project of the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine funded by DOST. And this is the seroprevalence of SARS-CoV-2 and the determination of viral neutralization characteristics of antibodies detected, okay, in communities in the Philippines. Okay, so we are almost sure that these projects will report its findings before the end of the year. Next slide, please. We have this Safe Sweep and Smart Passage System, SPAS. Again, I would like to give credit to our regional office Region Office number 6. They developed this ESPA system for use in Region 6. And other officials learned about it. So somebody suggested at the IATF that this become a national program. And so it was adopted. And today, I think it has covered more than 85% of its targeted number of provinces and chartered cities. Okay, they have targeted initially 81 provinces and 41 chartered cities from my recollection. Okay, and so it's very useful for travel management. Okay. Next slide, please. Now, another one under COVID-19 initiatives is the breath simulator, which was developed because of our need for a testing equipment that can be used in the testing of locally made ventilators, respirators, and other respiratory devices before they are deployed in hospitals, okay, to ensure quality and performance. So this breath sim, or the DOST breathing simulator, it's like an artificial lung, was developed by the DOST Advanced Science and Technology Institute and its partner from the private sector, the Electronics Industry Association of the Philippines Incorporated, or IAPI. Next slide, please. We have now moved to the Productivity and Empowerment Achievers group under our Big 21. Next slide, please. We are now in item 16, and this is our assistance to the micro, small, and medium enterprise sector in our industries. And the idea here is to utilize our existing small enterprise technology upgrading program, or setup, and convert it into a setup 4.0, okay, with industry 4.0 technologies as a target, as target technologies to be adopted by our enterprises to become more competitive. So that will include the use of Internet of Things, big data analytics, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, robotics, among others, to help our enterprises. Next slide, please. This is still in under the Productivity and Empowerment Achievers. And here, this coming November, during the celebration of our National Science and Technology Week, we will recognize 21 communities in the country that had shown excellent results or dramatic changes in the lives of their people in their community by using the interventions that we introduced to our community empowerment through science and technology program. Next slide, please, which is now item 18. This is now covering enhancing human resource development and human resource management. Next slide, please. The next slide actually is a new innovation in terms of utilizing our the services of our scholars that where we have invested in. Okay, so we have experienced that there are many graduates of our PhD programs and even MS programs. They want to work, do the R&D that they have learned to do while pursuing their advanced degrees, but you know, there are very few available plantilla items in government, whether it is in the research and development institutes or whether it is in the universities. The same is true in the private sector. Very few are really hiring people with advanced degrees in science and technology. Well, under this present condition, in particular, hopefully there will be more investors in science and technology-based industries, and we will be ready to deploy these graduate scholars. In the meantime, we created a program which we call the Snt Fellows Program for R&D, wherein they will be taken in as fellows. Okay, so this is after their doctoral or their advanced or their graduate studies, and we will deploy them into our research agencies in DOST with, of course, a contract to serve. Okay, it's not a plantilla position, a contract to serve up to a maximum of 5 years, but no guarantee of a plantilla position. But they will be offered a compensation or some kind of compensation or allowance that will be better than the salary in a plantilla position. Okay, because they do not have the advantage of tenure. Next slide, please. This is getting Filipinos ready for emerging technologies through online learning courses. Again, another item in Big 21, which I would like to give credit to our regional offices. By the way, the help assistance to MSMEs and to the marginalized sectors are also in the hands of our regional offices. So this one was spearheaded by DOST-Caraga. They were able to partner with Coursera, which is an international online learning program where the courses have been developed by shall we say, very prestigious institutions and companies like Yale University, Johns Hopkins, Google, and IBM, and they gave DOST-Caraga some 70,000 slots for Filipinos to enroll in their programs. Okay, they have many different courses. For example, from the course on language learning, health, information technology, computer science, data science, and many of those who enrolled are decided to take up more than one course. So if you will see here, the total completed courses out of the 70,000 slots was 146,837 courses. Okay, and you know, because of the performance of our enrollees in these Coursera programs, this particular program managed by DOST-Caraga was considered to be in the top, shall we say, rankings in the Coursera implementors. Okay, so this really was a big boost to our human resources who wanted to learn more, and particularly now that we are on various phases of quarantine. And so this one, which is an online learning program, proved to be very helpful. Next slide, please. We are now in item 20 and 21 of the Big 21, and these are governance milestones. Let me show you item 20. Okay, so this is coming out with an STI foresight document, and we credit this to the National Academy of Science and Technology, which is attached to the DOST. It's the development of a 30-year strategic plan. This will be good for 2022 up to 2051, okay, which is really a very good successor when this will be implemented to our National Science and Technology Plan 2002 to 2022, and that one will end next year. So this one is the new one that will cover 30 years. Next, and the last one, item 21, is a new set of books that we will come out in November. Actually, there are 11 that are being produced now to document our experiences, okay, in various aspects of the work in science and technology, from research and development to community empowerment, to human resource development, to international collaboration, to startups, and to disaster risk reduction, etc. There are 11 of these, but we will launch the first 5 this coming November during the celebration of National Science and Technology Week. So this completes. Is there any other slide? Any other slide? Okay, that is the end of my presentation. I think I was not able to meet the time allocation. I exceeded, but I think this is the only way I can present to you, okay, with a little more clarity what we mean by the Big 21 in 2021. Marami pong salamat.